Alright, here we are with good old Wild Blue Yonder. Doing the Rommel attacks campaign. It's going to be the third battle of it. I kind of had this feeling of, hey, I want to like consolidate all, these and not show the dogfight elements of it. But I kind of also feel like the dogfight is the only interesting thing in this game, really. It's the cool part of the game. It's why the campaign exists, is to generate dogfight situations. Many of which will include bombers. So I'm going to. It's right around midnight. I had a power outage, which terrified me. Went for a couple hours. Got back, woke me up, got online, got my computer working, which is hard whenever it has a hard reboot like that. Because the CMOS battery is like dead. And so I have to reset the BIOS and reset the times that the internet lets me connect. And then I post on Facebook a couple of times. I'm getting ready to play Raid. It takes me a while to set things up for Raid because there's other tools I want running before Raid starts. And then my internet goes down. The fucking weather outside, it's just so cold. Ice and trees falling and all kind of stuff like that. Not as bad as the first year it happened, but which was like my second year here. But I had that fear. Okay, so of course I don't remember what I'm doing because the campaign is just a procedural thing that I have to follow. It's not something I could really remember. Now I can look at campaign sequence of play and there it tells me what I need. So since it's Rommel attacks, I draw from the red deck, I guess. I don't know. It really doesn't make a damn bit of difference. And I get an ace pilot, which means I'll be doing mission number 3, which is Mechili. It'll be an airfield. And lucky for me, I've got one right on the table here. It has area flak. Can be strafed. And that's going to be a set of Hurricanes. Now I kept the main fighters in play here. Now let's take a look at the victory points. This has a lot of victory points, but it's a fucking pair of Hurricanes again. All I think it can do is strafe. And this is this a strafing mission? Because we have some. This is 1-2. Target flak only. Okay. 1 vice 3. What the fuck does that mean? Target flak only, 1 vice 3. I'm guessing they mean use a 1 instead of a 3. And it's also a strafing mission. 21.88. We looked this up. I think it just means I get a point per hit that I strafe. 21.88. I should have withheld putting a Hurricane in the last mission, but I gotta say, the Germans accidentally withheld on their first mission, so it's kind of cool that the Brits probably put an extra Harrier in play in a mission where I should have just said screw it. Okay. What was it? It was 22.88? No, 21.88. That's here. Certain missions are noted as strafing missions. Instead of scoring VP for successful level, score 1 per strafe hit obtained. I'm only going to get a couple more victory points off of it. So this is going to be my mission where I do not commit a resource because I fucked up and didn't have a resource for each. We take a look at the German resources, though, and they have a resource for every mission from now on. Blitzkrieg, which I don't remember. I looked it up last time. But earn double victory points for mission success level. There's no... This is not a German mission, so we will not do that. I used the experienced air crews, so this is going to be just a normal BF-110C, which is what we saw before. Now these guys are kind of cool because they have a gunner on them as well. What does that mean? That means when I'm advantaged, I can fire, which is something I haven't done. And I didn't really think about it. Okay, just the lead element. Let's figure out time to fly in and whatnot, which is going to be 9-7. The speed of these is 6, so that will go 3, 1. I got a draw for air crews, which is in here. Is that here? And draw for air crews. What else do we do? Okay. So we're in the Rommel attacks, and we have a British. Scissors or clouds is something? Nope. Nothing special. Oh, there's also green. But there are no greens in this missions. Germans, these are fighters. So only in my sights to burst will give me anything. And it doesn't. And now it's time for the fun of reshuffling the deck. Before I do that, I'm going to check my internet. Because I would rather not. I really do want to be online right now. But fortunately for me, it's still down. And, you know, modems have these little codes in their lights that tell you something. And I have no fucking idea what mine ever mean. But the pattern they were making when they were doing the weird shit and doing repairs, doing upgrades on the line, whatever, whenever that broke, whatever they fucked up, whatever happened, that was always a different pattern. It looked like my internet was good, actually. The pattern I have now is the pattern of, I'm not connected. You know, it's like, yeah, there's a wire going into me and everything, but it's not giving me anything. And the problem with that is, I don't know what's wrong in that case. It could be external. It could also be my jury-rigged line outside, which has fallen apart in hot weather. It's never fallen apart in cold weather. But, you know, who knows? You know, there's no way I can go out and check it at night, which is unfortunate because that's when I'm functional. I'm kind of afraid of trying to do so during the day, honestly, because, but I'm hoping it just resolves itself before the day happens. I went through the horrible agony of shuffling these guys. I shuffle them less than I would normally, and I am beginning to see little chips on them, I think. I'm not sure. I know that other cards of this type, but not by GMT, I've seen this ultra stiff hard card, I've seen get damaged, where either the edge folds up and actually gets a permanent crease in it, or which only happens with the cheapest poker cards or through ridiculous amounts of play, right? And it wouldn't happen with the normal cards. I'm pretty sure if this game had come with these cards in the first place, I would not have gone out and bought another copy of it. Like, I wouldn't, if the original Down in Flames had come with these cards. Certainly if it had come with paper cards or something, I'd have been pretty bummed, but know that the world has gone on, but it did not. It was in the era, and it was a great period where, you know, Magic had come out, where basically specialty cards were just beginning to come out and be available, and it was just very cool. Anyway, what I have to do is I have to check the procedural stuff every single time. When something is presented procedurally, when that's all it is, such as the setup for these scenarios, I have to look. So I find out that my initial altitude is something that happens before I draw the action cards. So, all right, if I want to strafe, I want to be probably very low over target. If I recall correctly. Well, I don't know. Doesn't fucking tell me there. The strike chart doesn't tell me. Great. So once again, we look at the strafe rules, because again, everything's, you know, everything in this in the campaign is basically little teeny pieces that you don't really need to remember, right? They're not things that you do again and again. I mean, I guess eventually you do. So we look for strafing. Well, we know strafing is going to be in the index. I see what's wrong. We're in the wrong book. Okay. We look in the book that has strafing, and I don't know if that's under campaign, but I think it's actually before that. There we go. At very low. So I have to be at very low when I hit here, which means, well, I have to be able to dive to very low when I hit here. So I have to dive to low, medium. I could dive to high. So I will go very high. And there's no question he's going to go very high as well. Now, I could have tried to play something out and avoid a fight by not picking very high, by picking like low. But he would eventually be able to swoop down and do some hurt to me. So I would rather not do that. Let me deal out the cards. And that's going to be 5. Ooh, and a crappy 4 for the BF-110. But again, it has a gunner. A gunner who's not really helpful unless I'm getting my ass kicked. And the most important thing, the effects of altitude, not on a cheat sheet here, not on a cheat card, not on anything. Got to open the rules and find it. Now, I'm pretty sure at very high, I'm down, like I think I'm down 2 draws on very high and 1 draw on high. And, wow, these guys have a lot of horsepower too. So do these. Okay. And that's it. So let's look for that. We got ceiling, but that's not where it is. It looks like it is, but it's not where it is. Altitude. And then here we have the effects. Very high, subtract 2 from horsepower. Only 1 if turbocharged. I don't think these are turbocharged. What's this? This is like a gun sight or something. Part of the problem is some of this stuff is relatively light and not necessarily clear what you're looking at. And then wingmen, it'll be 1 from both. And then at high altitude, it's 1 from defense and 1 from horsepower. So, you know, we got to do that every time. We don't know who's first. One thing is, it's just a pair of planes, so odd even. There's the Germans. We'll get rid of this, and we take a look. No wingman phase for the Germans. We're at the same altitude, so we can do stuff. But we have a shit load of not particularly great cards. I got a cockpit hit. That's a really good hit. Well, I will maneuver him. And we're going after his pilot. Now, it might be worth it to, like, bust up the wingman with that cockpit hit. Play this maneuver, just hope that, you know, he's only going to have a 1-card defense. But I got nothing that prevents a maneuver, so I grab angle of attack. I'm just doing it kind of how I almost naturally do it, which is, look, I'm going to get an advantage on your main fighter. I'm going to pick on your main fighter. My wingman's going to help me, is what I'm going to do. Now, my call here is I can either do an in my sights 2 burst for 2 hits, or I can do the cockpit hit. I'm going to roll odd even on those because, quite honestly, I know what he's got, and I also neither one makes perfect sense, right? So if he doesn't have a defense, this just fucks him up pretty hard. If he does have a defense, this will blow through his defense, and he might have trouble drawing more cards. I know that he does have a defense, I say. So I'm going to shoot the cockpit hit at him. That leaves me with a burst, but I don't have anything to do with that. And he says, yeah, I don't want a cockpit hit. And I don't have a response to a barrel roll. So I did not hit him. I get to draw cards, but I'm down 2 up at very high. I don't get any more cards. That's kind of interesting, but I can't stay up here. In fact, I'm kind of screwed. If we take a quick look at this, wingman step happens before altitude step. I'm -1 on my offense. Does that mean I get nothing? That would suck. I do believe so. So my wingman can't do shit. The air's too thin. I dive down to high. That gives me a card. He's going to follow me. Oh. Why not? He canceled out the wingman. And now he's got his hand. I've got a hand full of maneuver. I have a big 3 hit, but all right, we're going to maneuver him once. We're again going after the main pilot. What do I have that can counter maneuver? I got a tight turn. I'll play that. He can't counter a tight turn. Those go away. He's going to maneuver me again. I don't have anything. Now we're unengaged, but I have to still fight him. I couldn't like pick on another target or something at this point. I'm going to maneuver him again. I get the advantage. Now I've got 2 bursts on him. I can't play this. So, do I want to defend? Well, I can't. So that's too bad. Too bad. Let's look for the fighter. Put it there. I'm at high altitude now. My horsepower allows me to draw a card. This is going into turn 2 then. He's up. He's got his wingman first, no draw. Wingman only has 1 card. I have kind of a cool situation though. I have a gunner 1, which means I can plink away with an in my sights 1 card at these guys as a response. Well, gosh, I don't know. I don't think I can do it as no. I can't do it as a response to anything, but I can do it as my action from this position, and then maneuver into a better position. But I don't get that burst. I can't add that burst to try to get to a 2. All right. So our wingman goes, he does nothing. We're going to try to scissors him. Nothing he can do about it? Now we're advantaged. And we're going to in my sights him with a 2 burst because we've got the advantage position. He has nothing he can do about it. The hits come on. We're at high altitude. So I get one card, because I still have a 2 horsepower. And we go over here. Okay. No, whoa, whoa, whoa. Bugger. Okay, let me check these. I think actually I had a wingman in there. I was subtracting 1, but from the only thing that mattered. At high altitude, subtract 1 from the defensive. Yeah, I actually had a card to shoot at him. Let me do that. I'm gonna pick on the main guy with that. Yeah, I'm gonna pick on the main guy with that. I had it in my sights. He had no response for that, so he's actually damaged. That should have happened before. What I'm doing is I realize, wait a minute, he should have one, shouldn't he? We're only at high altitude now, so I draw one. I get a tight turn. It's just a response card. Doesn't do me any good in my hand. I dive to medium. I think I have to dive every time. And there's nothing I can do there. He's going to follow me to medium, though, because he has me advantaged, so he gets a card. And now we go into the area flak, but there isn't any on this one. Remember, area flak 0, target flak's 1, as per the mission, if I recall correctly, right? Target flak only. Okay. Target flak only 1 vice 3. Is that all one sentence? Or is it target flak only and it's 1 instead of 3? I think it's the latter, but there's 2 different concepts and it's not clear. This feels very much like using too few words when there's tons of room. They could have spelled it out. Okay. Over here. Now I'm at medium. My wingman has a thingy. I'm going to keep picking on his pilot with my wingman. I waste an ace. God, I hate when that happens. It happens there, and sometimes it happens on random draws. I don't know. Sometimes there's things where you have to draw a random card, like in the missions and whatnot. But we had some of those, and it was like, oh, you wasted the ace. Quite often, though, it happens that, the wingman just eats some card that he doesn't need. So now it's on to me. And I don't have a hell of a lot of cards. I have an advantage, though. Which gets me 2 bursts, and I have 2 bursts in my hand. So I'm going to open with the first one as an in my sights, 2 hits on that plane. Now, I might have instead chosen to pick on the wingman, but the wingman's going to have 2 defense. And this guy says, I got a tight turn. And I can't respond to that. So then I come out of the sun with 2 hits. He can't respond to that at all. And now he's almost down. That's all the bursts that I can do. So I draw 2 cards for horsepower at this altitude. We go here. His wing gets a card. I'll keep going on the main fighter. I would like to break this advantage. I've got a full throttle, which I will play. I am not loaded. There's no bombs on these suckers. And I don't think anything responds to full throttles other than full throttles. So I have now pulled away from him, which means he's not tailing me anymore. This is a big deal, because now in my altitude step, I dive down to low. I get a card for that. There's nothing I can do down here. And I draw 2 more cards. Oh, my performance is only 4 on these fucking planes. Did I draw 5 to begin with? I hope not. Why is this full throttle here? Because I didn't discard it. So I can discard a card. My main goal is to stay alive. I don't think I'm going to get 3 bursts, so I will draw 2 cards. I will not look at them. I could, if I was playing, I could, but the reason I don't is I want to be able to make certain decisions for the other player without knowing. I've dove to low. He wasn't able to follow. We are now going over target. He has the option to keep going. I think he must. Mission planes or something. This guy's in real danger, though. Oh, flak isn't that dangerous. Yeah, we're going over target as well. So both groups are over target. Both groups will take target flak for this. This turn, he's not able to really operate against me, which is kind of cool. Are we in the right place? I guess. Because he's diving each time. He's able to dive once more to hit. He's just behind because he wasn't able to follow last time. That means no wingman attack. Let's take a look at the order here. The airstrike step is going to cause me to take flak before anything else. But first I take my altitude adjustment. So I go down to low. I get an extra card for that. I'm at 3. I'm allowed to get 1 more. But now I take flak. And wow. Oh, strafing. Okay. Strafing, I'm at low. That's going to be a base number of flak cards, which is 1. I don't know who we draw for first. Wing or... I think we go after the main first. It's the order that they're done in, so I don't know. And out of the sun, 3 hits. 4 hits. Wow. Well, that sucks. This much bigger plane is actually damaged by this. He takes a lot of hits. Why am I drawing my own flak? I mean, it's my gun's firing at me, right? Sure. Okay. At the wingman, I draw 1. And I don't know, because it's my flak shooting at me, so it feels right that it's my card. Okay. It is another out of the sun. The wingman has a 2-card defensive hand that he may counter it with 1 card, but he doesn't have any. So he just took, what, 2 hits, 3 hits? 3 hits for that out of the sun. Well, it was no fun being us. The wingman already went. That means we're on him, and I couldn't split them up and say, well, the wing's not going. Oh, now I'm damaged. My performance and horsepower are down. Is my burst rating down? No. But I can do shit to them. And I have a reasonable hand, so I am going to maneuver his main plane. He has a tight turn. He doesn't really want us in there, so he'll play the tight turn against us. We tight turn his tight turn. We can't tight turn his tight turn of our tight turn. So the maneuver is successful, and we've got him lined up. We out of the sun him for 2. He barrel rolls us. We barrel roll his barrel roll. He's out. So that is 2 more hits on his lead. Plane down. The lead replaces the wingman. I believe position stays the same, because we've basically gotten an advantage on their formation. Let me check that to make sure, but I think that's what happens. Discard your current hard, remove all hits, return all hits and damage status on your wingman. The matching side, remove the... Place your wingman off to the side for draw a new hand of cards. So his performance would normally be 5. He gets 4 cards. I believe he's still advantaged, but I don't see anything that says anything one way or the other here. I seem to remember that you keep your advantage on someone. Oh. This is really kind of annoying. Maybe there's an example. No. Yeah, I mean, they just need an extra little bit of rule here, is all they need. But they don't say to do anything to move your leader card, which, to me, does match the, hey, you can be advantaged. So I got my new card hand. This guy doesn't have a lot of horsepower left. He gets 1 card. Oh well. Now, we were planning on diving to very low. We don't have to, but I believe strafing is advantaged by doing so. And we get an extra card. He can follow us. He's got no reason not to. He gets an extra card. Well, other than I don't have a lot of cards, and well, at least one of my planes is... My planes are kind of shot up at this point. I might just want to disengage, to tell you the truth, or not fight him very much. In order to, I get 5 points for this. He's going to get at most 1 for strafing. But I still have this hope that, like, he'll get shot up by the flak and I'll be able to take him on, because I got 2 planes still in the air to his 1. So I'm going for a high risk situation here. So, let's look for strafing, bombing, whatever. It's here. If the strafing aircraft, it does not. Draw a number of action cards equal to the burst or strafe rating. But I don't know if I want to, I don't think I want to dive if I'm not getting something extra from my strafe. I thought I got an extra card. I thought I got an extra card for strafing. No, I have to be at very low altitude. Gotcha. Okay. Alright. So my burst is 1. And I don't have heavy cannons. And I draw. I tight turn. Yeah. Actually, I get a miss. Okay, that doesn't matter. The flak, though, does matter, and that's 2 cards, right? There's an out of the sun 3 hits. I am allowed to try to dodge that. Since I have no hits against me, I could, but I have lots of combat responses, but none to Out of the Sun. So I too am crippled and out of position as well by the flak. I can't climb. I mean, I could with a vertical roll. I'm going to full throttle him. Lucky for me, he doesn't have much. So here we go. Full throttle successful. I'm going to maneuver him. He doesn't have a response to a maneuver. But I have side guns. I still have a decent burst rating, so I'm going to in my sights, and this is against his main plane, for 2 hits. But he will barrel roll that. Tight turn doesn't help me. I miss. I'm out of cards of any value. My horsepower is 1. And we go to the homebound turn. The Germans will be peeling off after this. First is the wingman. The wingman has a card. He'll play it. It's a nasty one. It's a cockpit hit. That doesn't sound good. And in my sights cockpit hit, we will respond with a tight turn. I don't have a response for that because I only have 1 card in my hand. On to him. I wish I had some guns. I wish I had something. It's the wingman step. I can't go below very low. This card isn't going to help me. I'm going to climb up to low and discard a random card. And I get a card. Puts me to him. No wingman. I believe it's a random card that you discard. I need to swap batteries. Actually, I get the choice of what to discard. None of it matters, though. I don't have anything I can do to him, so fuck it. Let's not keep delaying the game. We're on the last turn. I'll just fly home, and these guys break off. There's no real possibility that anything could happen. As soon as he climbed, it's over. Okay, let's look at points for it. Strafing was unsuccessful. No points for that. But it's 7-2. What's this -7 here? I think that's 7 points. Yeah, that's minus points for the Axis campaign because when we count it all up, I don't know. We subtract one side from the other. Okay. So we're looking at 7 points for the Germans, 2 for the Allies. It's a very close campaign. It's a 1-point campaign at this point. 7 for each of these. 1 and 2 here. The last battle will determine things. And I think I'm just going to run that last battle in here. But before I do, I need to check the interwebs. So far there's this sort of boring repetitiveness to the campaign, which, again, the dogfight is the beauty of the game, but other air-to-air combat games, you know, things like Richthofen's War has a campaign system in it. They just feel like they generate more interest to me. I think a lot of it is this game is so streamlined and tailor-made for the dogfighting aspect. the rest of it is all kind of like tacked on. 8th Air Force was kind of a let's tack stuff on. And, you know, honestly, I don't think many people play it other than for the dogfighting aspect of it. And it makes a great, like, and unfortunately not with this size box, but like a thing, and it never was a small box, right? It would be so cool if, like, I don't know, it could fit in just a deck of cards, you know, size type of thing, so you could drop a pack in your pocket like you could with a Magic deck or whatever. Something you could play at a coffee shop. Anyhow, let's see what the last mission is. It is a tight turn, which is mission 5. Sid Aziz, a dogfight, 1B. What do these numbers mean? 1B. Oh, that's which card I find it on. Yeah, okay. Let's find dogfight. We don't really need this. The only thing it has is the disengagement roll. Okay. And what do we have for missions? Well, the base mission is an LW Hurricane 1 versus a BF-110C. And both players are going to have an extra plane of the same type. So it's going to be another 2 versus 2 pure dogfight that we're going to fight out. And you know what? I'm probably not going to even do it on camera. I feel like, you know, you've seen enough of the system to understand the dogfighting part of the game. And there's just, even though that's the most exciting thing, so what? You know, how many times do you want to watch a dogfight happen? So I may come in and announce exciting stuff that happens. I'm guessing both are going to start at very high if they can. They can. And anything less doesn't really matter. It's going to be a 6-turn fight. Bing, bang, boom. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put that there. I don't know. What's this? Just to set that up. I've got tea getting ready to happen, and then I got to shuffle cards. Internet's still fucked. This is not, I mean, at least it's not the power, right? But the main thing, other than like these vague thoughts of, oh wow, it's going to be fucking cold and I'll have absolutely nothing I can do. At least I can do something while I have electricity. But, and I'm not freezing my ass off as much. But the main thing I wanted to do tonight was to log into Raid. So I'm just, you know, my life is designed around that. Out of the 8 cards I pulled, 4 for each side, one of them is interesting, and in my sights. Now, it's a Rommel attacks. I get BF-110 either Heller or Wehrmeyer. Odd even. Okay, we're going to try to find Wehrmeyer. Kind of an annoying situation. If I was going to play a lot of this, and I don't think I'm going to play much more, I may try another campaign. But basically, you have to hunt for the specific pilot you want. I found him. Alright, I put him on one of the fighters. Doesn't really matter which one. And he has a CV capability, which either means he's an aircraft carrier or he has a really, really packed resume. Let's see which it is. Again, I didn't look these up, you know, and read through them, so the chance of me remembering a correct one would have been low anyway. CV is combat vision. During a day mission, which this is, if either the leader or wingman of your unit has the skill, upon drawing your initial hand and before determining play order, you may discard any number of cards from your hand and replace them. This is a one-time exchange. Okay. That's kind of cool, I guess. Whatever. And now it's shuffle time. And yeah, I'll probably come back for the discard discussion just because that's something new. Even, I mean, it's nothing that exciting. It's like it's gonna be based on when am I, right? Well, before determining play order. So yeah. It's an interesting call because here's the thing. If I pick a handful of offense, or if I try for a handful of offense, because I'm allowed to discard any number of cards and replace them. If I pick a hand for offense that I like, and I don't go first, they'll want to pick on me. But what if I pick a hand for defense? Well, that'll be obvious if I go first because I won't pick him. So it's kind of like, what is the perfect hand? The perfect hand depends very much on play order. And sure, I mean, there are cards you can discard just because they're crappy. And reaction cards are useful on offense as well. So I'm not gonna argue with that. All right, it's time to shuffle. Boy, do I hate this. Confirming we're seeing damage on these. A little bit of jamming together, and it's just going to start getting worse and worse. The cards are going to chip up. This does not happen with normal cards, okay? It just doesn't happen. It only happens with these fucking armor-plated things. And the bend I haven't seen yet. That was one particular deck. But I have noticed that these fuckers chip up in a way they get damaged far more quickly than anything else. Some of it is the amount of force you have to put into shuffling them. The fact that they don't interleave properly, so they like jam against each other, and that's how this gets caused. And then, you know, just so much wrong with them. So much wrong with them. They're so inferior. And I'm sure they're paying way more on these because they only show up in their sort of top of the line games. I wish somebody at GMT watched my videos, or somebody that they pay attention to, like listened, you know, or somebody that they had paid attention to brought this point up, but they are fucking horrible cards. Period. Everybody's starting at very high. This is what we do. Let's look at my hand. I've got a maneuver, a big out of the sun, and in my sights, and a barrel roll. I'm going to just throw this in my sights because I don't have enough maneuver to use either of my weapons, but if I get one more maneuver type card, I'm in good shape. I don't get it. I get a nice in my sights though, so this might not be a bad starting player. We roll odd even for who gets to go first. If I don't pick him, they'll think he has a defensive hand. Oh, he just has a handful of shit. Okay. I don't know. I'm going to choose randomly because honestly I feel like, well, one or two I'm going to go with him. He's got a shitty hand. That's going to be obvious right away. But on the other hand, they'll think he has a defensive hand and pick on him. Maybe. Okay, one or two I go with this guy because I think normally you would just take your offensive hand, but it's not that great an offensive hand. But we'll do him first. And I'll start the engagement. He doesn't get a wingman, everybody else will. He's going to pick on the guy across from him because why not? Whoa! These guys have a performance of 5. I knew that last time. I don't know why I didn't know it this time. First turn, he managed to not get his shot lined up, or not get his shot to work. With a vertical roll involved. But he's got a positional advantage. And now there's always a hard call. Who goes next, right? So this guy goes next, let's say. I play my cards, then I'm attacked by this guy first. But there's an advantage in that I could, well, no matter what, I'm going to be able to dive, get another card, and be able to react to him no matter what happens, basically. So it makes no sense for him to go next. It only makes sense for him to go next. The problem with him going next is his wingman doesn't get a shot because we're too high. And my cards suck ass. I've got a handful of violence and very little way to take advantage of it. I may plink at the wingman because of that. Like I'm reporting everything anyway. I got a really a nice out of the sun card on a 1 burst, does 2 hits on the wingman, but unfortunately the wingman had a barrel roll. I have no response. But we don't get any fucking draws up here. There's something very weird about that, right? So the planes are flying along doing nothing, and they have their full complement of a hand, and they don't get anything else if they stay up there. They're not allowed to maneuver at all, basically. But they've got a whole handful of maneuver. Like, it's not that they have no capability to fly up there and maneuver up there. They just have no capability to gain additional maneuver. Now, very, very powerful planes do. And that makes some sense when you get there. But these planes are really not operable at this altitude. But it's where they're going to be. Like, it's where you end up starting because you have the advantage of height. You get to, if the other guy drops or starts lower, you get to drop and draw extra cards and have a bigger hand, which is just huge. So you start as high as you possibly can. You can't really fight up there except right away. Right away you can. It's just kind of fucked up. Something feels wrong about it to me, that's all. Example, this guy's now tailing him. I don't get any cards from my horsepower because it's at -2. My wingman can't draw any cards. I didn't have any firepower. I had a couple maneuvers, I got him into position, perfect. If he stays very high, I can never hit him. If he dives, I can follow him and maybe get a shot off or something. So it's kind of fucked up, right? Just as an example. I'm tailing him, I cannot ever get a shot on him. And what can I do about it? Well, I can just keep tailing him and nothing happens, which might just be what happens in this fight. As I get off camera and I start to think more pathologically about, what I can do to the game. In position, nobody's got any damage. I managed to dive and then regain neutral position on these. These guys, I don't know. He can't hit him. He can't do shit. Oh, we'll start with the new player. And I picked on his wingman, both with my wingman and with my regular guy, because he only gets 1 card. And this guy, got something of a draw, I guess. Doesn't look like he has much of a hand. But it just made sense to me to pick on the wingman who only gets a single card, which, its chances of being a counter or whatever are fairly low. Although, when you're up at these high altitudes, you don't tend to get a lot of card refreshes. So the other guy might not have many defenses left. But I plucked him for 1 hit, basically. So here's the problem if he stays at very high. If both my planes were disadvantaged in this kind of way, in which the enemy had stuff on me, I think I would just say, you know what, you got the advantage on me, let's play it out for a draw. Of course, I'm ahead by a point. So I would win the campaign barely by just playing this out as an absolute draw. However, if I stay up here, he can dive and engage this guy's wingman. That's something we don't want to have happen. Now I'm at an interesting point. I still have just a handful of absolute violence. Now, I could discard a card and get one card. If I vertical roll up, I have to discard a card. See, without any maneuvers, I can't do shit down here. And I dove after my wingman goes, so he didn't get any cards. Now he would get one. I think I'm going to play a vertical roll upward. This could be countered, but I don't really think he wants to. And I'm going to go back up to very high. He's not able to follow if he doesn't counter, I believe. Nor does he particularly want to. So what do I get rid of card-wise? Well, I want to keep that one. That one's awfully good. I want to keep that one. That one's awfully good. This one's very expensive, so I'm going to discard this. I don't get a draw, but now and where these are positioned doesn't matter. Now I'm disengaged from him. Now I'm in the same position I was in before, but I think like this was the best move. I don't know why. That allowed him to engage this guy's wing. His wingman went first, didn't do shit. He got a half loop. You can't improve position in that kind of circumstance. Wingman versus wingman. They don't get extra bursts. It's the only card I have, and they don't improve position on this. If this guy were alone, I could save him from another guy. But my own card was a wonderful cockpit hit, and he didn't have a defense for it. In fact, he managed to randomly stumble on the engine hit card. And I think there are, maybe there's two in here, I don't know. But it's one of the issues with the reshuffle situation. If you pay attention to what the cards are, you'll notice certain special cards that you may really want start disappearing from the deck. And you're like, oh, that's the only X. Now, I don't know this deck very well. But in the original deck, I think, there was like one of, a couple of these different special of each of these special cards. And maybe there were like two ace pilots. I think maybe there was only one. I don't know. But it was a big deal when, and it still is, when one of those cards goes away just because, oh look, the wingman ate it. That was everything from him. I'm on him. Actually, I didn't have to hit the wingman. Oops. I did anyway, but... and that's a big deal because it was a cockpit hit, so it reduces his offense. His wingman doesn't do anything offensively anymore. I have battery issues here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this here, put a die on top of it, maybe put another die on top of it, and hope that I can figure that out because this is about ready to die. Back for turn 3 here. I want to get this finished by tonight. Internet's still fucking down. It's been about an hour more. I don't know. I'm almost through decks. Core rules. God. Given how bad I fucked up Central Front, I'm really worried about my capability to play. Keep in mind complex rules and everything. It's always been iffy, right? But it just feels like I'm getting worse. All right, so we start with this, and like I said, I'm not going to cover all the specifics. I've been picking on this wingman. I'm not sure why, because he's kind of useless right now. But it's like, hey, getting a kill is worth something. So the first thing was damage him, which reduces him. Actually, he no longer even has a defensive card for what it's worth. But I attacked with my wing and with my pilot. Here I'm attacking with the wing, and I drew an Out of the Sun card. It doesn't matter. It's a wingman attack. I can use all the bursts I get. He doesn't have a defense. I drew one, but he doesn't have one. 3 hits is enough to kill him. And now I'm able to maneuver the fighter. Now, this is kind of fucked up because we're kind of cross-table type stuff. Usually I try to avoid doing this, but sometimes it happens in the game, and it can cause some confusion, and these guys might end up going after those. And I'll just swap positions, keeping the numerical counters in the same place, or something along those lines. But right now, I can handle this way. We're on him. He has no wing anymore, so he's in trouble. And by the way, it's really valuable to destroy an entire element. If I knock out an entire element, now one plane can go after the other, or one element can go after the other element and tackle them head on. The other one, though, can go after the wing. Once I take the wing out, I can start maneuvering that other lead pilot. So we got a nice advantage right now. Around to the first plane here, who, these guys are both down at medium. He dove, he was followed. Okay, great. Got a card, didn't help. Hope he got his draw. He has a whole hand. He did not get his, he could discard. I do not need two in my sights. So I'm going to actually discard and draw a card. Don't know what it is. Not going to look. But for this guy, and I mean, each element should be played by one player. So it's fine that I don't look at these cards and can contemplate them for, say, this guy's turn or whatever. For this guy, he has a couple of options. First off, he's got his, so he's up at high along with this guy. I can plink with my wingman, whatever. But then I can dive and engage this thing. What I use my wingman for is dependent on whether I want to do that. I don't have a good hand, so I'm going to go after his wing instead of going after the leader. If I had a decent hand, I would go after his leader, try to get a, if I get a position card or whatever, that gets me in a better position, and now I can get my firing off. But I'm sitting here with a three-point shot. I'm probably not going to get 2 points of position. Half loop could do it, but what's the chance? My wing only pulls one card. Let's see if it's a half loop. No, it's a big hit. He's at high. He only gets one card in defense. It ain't good enough. That little operation, he dives back down to join the dogfight. Wingman attacks, and he gets an insta-kill. Luckily, I saved an ace pilot. I used a couple of barrel rolls to prevent a one-point hit. It's something you don't really want to do, but I feel like I'm at such a disadvantage, I have to take my chances. Plus, I had the ace sitting in my hand. But using two barrel rolls to defend against, because the other guy had a barrel roll as well, to defend against one plane is painful, but these guys are coming down. However, the Brits are in a lot of trouble here. At the end of that game turn, these guys have continued down. He's not able to find cards that'll help him. And we'll start back here at medium. Do I want to keep picking away? I've started to draw cards now, but I got this 2-hit out of the sun. I don't know. I'm going to pick on the wing first. So my wingman picks on his wingman. I get a maneuver. That's useful. Let's see if he can counter it. He does have a card to counter it. Yeah. So no good there. So I may dive, but I'm not able to get shots on him. See, here's the whole problem. I've got a single burst 2-hit out of the sun. I think that's probably my best move, is to dive down and keep taking him on, just like last turn. No wing. This guy comes down, and now I've shifted the planes and the hands along with them. With the he has draws the dreaded half loop, which allows him now to be tailing this plane. So they're now engaged. I've got it in my sights for 2 hits. That's ugly to face. So I'm going to play a tight turn against that. Now, this is a powerful card because I've got a kill the enemy plane if I wish. I could play my tight turn now and cancel this and do 2 hits on him. Or I can hold, I got all kind of responses, hold my destroy card. I'm going to hold my destroy card just in case he has another defense in there. Because I've gathered up 3 bursts. This was 2 hits off of 1 burst. Now I play my in my sights here. He doesn't have a response. I kill the pilot and his plane, both. So that's a fuel tank hit. It's not an engine hit. An engine hit wouldn't hurt these as much. But now we have this hand gets discarded, and he gets a 3-card hand instead. I've used up all my bursts. My performance is beginning to come into play now that we're down here and I can draw cards. It wasn't so good at those high altitudes. The performance advantage didn't work as well, but the Hurricanes are doing better down here. So that's 2 I get over there. This is painful. I am flying this plane. I got a shot off, damaged the Hurricane. Cool. Okay. So far, you know, we've shot 1 down and damaged 2. We're still winning the fight even though we lost a plane. But I have a handful of responses and nothing else. This is at the end of my turn. I have a handful of responses, nothing else. And I want to draw a couple more cards so that I get a chance at shooting him down. So what do I want to get rid of? Well, barrel rolls are pretty fucking common. Vertical rolls, not so much, but they cancel out of the sun. Tight turn, very useful. I'm going to get rid of the 2 less likely ones so that I draw a full new hand. Because I'm advantaged, right? I got to swap batteries, though. And we are on the last plane on the second to last turn. Hard call again. This guy's got a handful of damage, which is cool. I'll be able to fire. So I have a scissors, which allows me to become advantaged when disadvantaged. If I dive, he'll follow me. Do I want that extra card? I could bring it up to the 3 hit in my sights, which is easier to defend against than these 2, honestly. See, I've got a better hand draw. No, I don't. I've got a bigger hand that I can draw. No, I don't. I'm damaged. Okay. I'm going to put this on an odd even whether or not I dive. Odd, yes. Okay. We're going to dive, draw another card. More damage. He will almost certainly follow just because. Protecting this guy might be useful. It might actually be very valuable, but I'd like to finish this thing off. That way, if I lose another one of these, I'm okay, point-wise. All right, and then we'll engage. I don't know if he has something that counters a scissors. I think the only thing that does is a scissors. Hell, shit, he had one. Oh, that makes his life a lot worse, and that makes his decision to dive after him very, very good. He actually had a handful of counters, so he's not going to do much to this on the next turn. And in fact, the only way he was going to hit anything is by diving. So had I looked at my hand, I definitely would have dove. He's sitting here with shit, and has to survive the next turn. So I'm going to be discarding, well, one card because I have a 4-card performance. So down these guys following, and then a whole handful of cards off a maneuver, ending in a scissors that canceled it out. He's not able to even get one reduction of the firepower this guy's going to put on him. Since he's already played against, well, since he's facing the engaged guys, he has to play against them. But he could have played against the wingman instead, but he's picked his target as being the main plane. So I am kind of lucky here. I have a pretty good hand still left on my 2 cards. I'm firing out my ass with an in my sights at him. It's only a 2-point hit. It's not going to be enough to cripple him. Too bad. You know, I'm just not going to, I'm not going to get another shot. We look at him. He has an in my sights, or he has a barrel roll to cancel. Do I want to fire this off or not? I think not, because I'm not going to be able to cripple him. If I could have crippled him, I would have done it. But without, it doesn't make much difference. And I do get a couple of cards left. But I'm not able to do any kind of countering activity that would allow me to do damage to him, given that this is the last turn of the game. That's also something that feels kind of shitty, right? Like, now I'm just like, let me get away. Which kind of makes sense, but, you know, I don't know. It feels like this guy was so close. I could shoot. But I didn't have enough, you know, I didn't have enough firepower to hit him or to hit him. Oh, I was going to say, I have an interesting handful of violence here. 3 in my sights cards. I get to use all of them on him. He can't do anything. He can't, you know, counter the fact that I'm tailing him. He had to do that before. So I'll be able to accumulate 4 hits on him. But first, I get to draw my wing, who can't do shit. But yeah, I'm going to be shooting these off. I don't know how much he can defend against. I'm not going to be doing, you know, I said it was like 4 points of damage. It also is not enough to cripple him. The final turn often feels stilted in this way. And yeah, you can extend the scenario out or whatever, but, you know, it's what the dogfights are supposed to be, is 6 turns. Ooh, I should be using this instead. How about that? Okay. Over here, I drew for a wingman I don't have. No, it's this guy. He drew for his wingman, getting a maneuver card on him, which he couldn't respond to. So now we're tailing him, which gives us a lot more firepower. We'll just finish this off here. I only need to do 2 more points of damage. And I have nothing. Shitty town. Alright, well, he's done. I can discard cards, but I have a handful of defense, and that's as good as I'm going to do. So, no reason to draw. Again, that end of the game feels weird. And for this guy, he has a handful of offense, no maneuvers or anything, so it's over. So what do we have? We each had a plane lost. So that's 5 for each, but he's at 6, 7, 8, 9. So the Allies give 5, and the Axis gets 9, which gives them a slight win in the campaign overall. I don't know. I want to play another campaign. I just feel like, you know, this was, I don't know. This feels very, very feels repetitive when you fight these out. It doesn't feel like there's that much excitement to the bombing run itself, whatever. But you know, I'm not getting to look at the heavier bombers at all and how they function and some of the more complex elements. I'm not getting to look at the progressive campaign and stuff like that. So there may be more to this game, you know, but what it really feels like to me is just, at least this kind of campaign, is just, hey, look, you're going to fight a dogfight, and then, yeah, you get this bombing run to go in for, but that's really just like a crapshoot, you know. How do you do against the flak and whatever? And yeah, there's an interesting choice on the turns surrounding it in terms of do you want to follow the enemy in with your own fighters and take flak, or do you just want to do you just want to deal with it there? I don't know what the fuck this is. Over target resource. Maybe like some of the resources from here, like no retreat, but that's not over target. I don't know. I do not know. Overall, though, I didn't get much of a kick out of playing this one. Certainly not worth the trouble of having to buzz through the rule book for the special instances of it. Too much of the bombing run part of it feels kind of like a solo game. Like it just feels like I'm running up against, hey, do I get hit? You know, what happens to me? Let's see this. Light bombers are worth 6. I don't know. We may have been. I think we hit a Junkers light bomber here, so the points may be a little different. Instead of 7 here, this probably is 8. So it may actually be a tie. 10, 15. No, 16, 17. Yeah. Okay. So the Germans win anyway, but one problem I have is I don't know where my fucking eraser is, and normal erasers don't work. Like, they don't really erase stuff. But my good ones are not around. My wife may have, I'm sure she has something that I just haven't stolen yet. But, alright, let's send this up, and I don't know. I don't think I'll play any more tonight. If internet's still down, I'll try to sleep or something. And therefore, since the internet is down, I'm sure, I'm not actually sending this up. I'm just packaging it to send up.